It's time for our local business review today, and Wendy Hendricks is joining me, as she always does, with Barry Kirchhoff from the SBDC. Wendy, of course, with Agency North Real Estate in Sartell. And you've brought one of my favorite people along with you guys today. Her name is Julie Braun. Brown, I should say. I always call her Braun because I know a lot of Browns in Princeton. But Julie is from SOS of Sauk Rapids, and it's Smart Organizing Solutions is what it stands for. Julie, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, you've got all these guests, and it seems like you guys all know each other. Wendy knows you. You have history. Barry knows you have history at SBDC. I don't even know where we should start. Who wants to talk first? How did you have this relationship with Julie, Wendy?
How did I meet you? Must have been through, I think through your BNI involvement with my friend Kelly, probably from Gaslight.
Right.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So Julie, actually, I'm a testimonial. She'll talk about her business, but she helped me when COVID hit. What are we going to do? What are you going to do? You know, so they worked with me, her and her team, and I completely cleaned, decluttered, my whole home, which was quite the project. My basement was like, I hadn't been in there for, gone through all that stuff in years.
Well, things collect after a bit of time.
So they are incredible. I can't wait for her to share what they all do. She's bringing something really unique to the area.
Yeah, for sure. And now I'd like to ask you, Barry, how do you know Julie?
Well, Julie was a client of the Small Business Development Center, and she started her business obviously pre-COVID. She worked with consultant at the time, Brianna Torberg, who was at the center, and Brianna helped her through the process. And I have to say, when Julie came in with that, it was a unique idea.
Yeah.
And her timing, and she'll talk about it, she has found a real niche. We had heard that idea before, but the way Julie approaches it, she's very successful because, like most businesses, they need a system, and she's got a very good system. And she's high energy. She's got those hallmarks of successful small business owners.
Yeah. Well, Julie, that's kind of what I would agree with everybody, too. We've gone out to eat and talked a few times. She's been on the show before. If you've never heard of her business, SOS, you may have driven by in Sauk Rapids. It's right on Benton Drive. And I appreciate you coming in to share your story.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. It's really interesting, and it is a unique business. First of all, why don't we tell people what you do for those who don't know what SOS is?
Okay, Smart Organizing Solutions is a professional organizing business. We help our clients not only organize and declutter their homes, but we also help a lot of clients who are preparing to downsize or move by helping them declutter for getting their house ready for the market. We deep clean the home so that it's presentable to the future buyer. We help pack up their boxes and load up the van if needed, and we will even unpack when they get to their new home.
So I suppose you're even in the middle going, okay, let's take a look at where you're moving to see how much space you have to decide how much stuff you want to take with you too, right? It's all part of the process.
That's right.
Wow. Now, what made you want to go into business like this? I've seen things like this on TV, and I love to watch these shows. You love to see the before and after, right? Everything is so messy, and then it's so clean. It makes your soul feel good. How did you decide that you wanted to do this as a business here?
Well, to be perfectly honest, the idea of starting a professional organizing business came to me in a dream.
Really?
My background is finance and accounting, and I was just tired of sitting behind a desk and crunching numbers. So I had a dream one night, wrote down home and business organization, and started Googling it the next day.
Huh.
I didn't know that till you started. That's incredible.
Yeah. So I stumbled across NAPO, National Association of Professional Organizers. There are a lot of organizers in the Twin Cities area, but not any
really
at the
north.
time in the St. Cloud area. Mm-hmm. So that's how the idea came.
Okay. Well, and it's a lot different than some of them too, right? I mean, some of them aren't as I cover such a broad base as you do. I mean, really going across the board. I think about a lot of people that may be retiring or not wanting to be in a great big home anymore, and maybe they're going to move to an apartment or a smaller house.
Right.
And that is a lot on a person, especially if they're having physical ailments, that it's kind of hard to carry those couches and stuff up and down the steps anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Another big part of our business is working with clients who have been faced with clearing out their parents' or relatives' homes. And so we will go in and oftentimes host an on-site estate sale.
Okay.
So that is a service that is definitely a niche for us.
Another thing they do is like with my house, we kind of had a pile, keep, throw, donate. But like for me, I didn't have time. I don't want to do a garage sale. Even bringing things to Goodwill or wherever, they will take whatever you don't want and either donate it or talk about your store.
Yeah.
Another thing.
After a year in business, one of our clients had a trailer full of antiques that he wanted us to sell for him. We had been dabbling with selling items for our clients on Facebook Marketplace. That was right when COVID hit, and it was a true blessing. We started going through that trailer of antiques and realized my garage wasn't big enough. So we are renting our current retail space behind Rapids Alterations on Benton Drive. Mm-hmm. And we opened up a store, a retail store called the SOS Treasure Chest, and we sell our clients' items there on a commission basis.
I love that. So it's all kinds of things.
Oh, you never know what you're going to find. And new inventory comes in every week.
Oh, I bet.
I just
Right
bought
now-
China a week ago.
Yeah?
Yep. And we have 2 households that'll be coming through the doors. 2 households full of stuff.
So how many people do you employ now? Because I'm sure when you started, you probably didn't have a ton of people helping you, and it's had to grown over the last, 4 years have you been in business?
I'm going into my 4th year. Started out as me, and about 6 months later, I brought on my daughter and another person, Amber, part-time. Mm-hmm. And then I'm up to 13 staff.
Wow. So if people really like to clean and they like to help people de-stress by organization, they should call you and be on the wait list in case it start growing out of control again.
Right, right.
So how did you get started doing professional organizing? Did you like to do it at home? I mean, just in your spare time? Or
You know, looking back, I remember babysitting for my aunt when I was in 6th grade, and I would organize her cupboards and drawers. I do like to organize, although I will tell you that my house is probably not as organized as it should be, just due to time.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
Organizing everybody else's houses. Isn't that the way
They're
it goes?
a priority.
And see, that is something I would never do. Oh, I think I'm just going to organize my closet.
No, never.
My sister actually, I think it's a gift. It's a skill. It's a gift that you have, like I had all these purses, and every time I changed purses, I wouldn't clean out the other ones. So one day, Julie came to my house, and we literally cleaned out like 20 purses.
Oh, my gosh. You are so funny.
Now, that would have taken me a couple hours.
Yeah.
It took her about 20 minutes. She's just a pro.
Yeah. I keep thinking about that stuff, too. I love to organize, but I don't have the time. And so hiring someone to help you do it, sometimes is the only way you can get it done.
Well, what a story. Because the original intent was I want to be an organize things for people. St. Cloud isn't the Minneapolis demographics, but you have brought in other revenue streams, and look what you've been able to do. And I think when you left the center and we got everything, she already came in. She knew finance, which a lot of small businesses don't know.
Yeah, that's a big plus.
And to have 13 employees. I've said for years, jokingly, when I get up and do presentations, that the definition of an entrepreneur is somebody that and I've said it on the program here, rather than work 5 days a week, 40 hours a week for someone else, they'd rather work 7 days a week, 16 hours a day for themselves. And when everything that you're doing, I'm going, you are the best case example of my definition of an entrepreneur. And it's good for the listeners out there to know what it takes, the commitment, and sometimes you didn't go into this thinking that, I'm going to do all these things, but you saw opportunities and revenue streams. You're willing to try them under the umbrella of I run an organizational business, but you're doing a phenomenal job.
Thank you, Barry.
I wanted to ask you this. What were some of your concerns that you had when you were thinking about starting the business? Because you said, I'm done with this. I want to do something else. And you started looking at it. Did you just dive in and know that you could make this work?
Well, honestly, there was a lot of fear involved, just because it was something new. And what if I don't get any clients? I've been, like I said, very, very lucky with some really good mentorship through the SBDC and also a BNI group that I belong to, the River City BNI, and just
Chamber.
Just previous contacts too. I was a previous business owner, so I did know the ropes in terms of what all needed to be done, but it was a little bit different. And the SBDC helped me quite a bit with building a website.
Oh, sure.
Getting connected to the right people. With my business plan, cash flow projections, things like that.
Okay, awesome. And obviously, then you started right before, without knowing what was coming, we get a pandemic. Well, and some businesses really flourished through that and some didn't. In your case, it seemed to be something that worked out to your advantage in some instances. I don't want to say we're taking advantage of a bad situation, but you know what I mean.
Well, again,
were you helping people that couldn't help themselves in those?
Like for me, I would have never had the downtime to do it.
Yeah.
Right. And for us too, that trailer of antiques saved us in COVID because some of our clients were canceling, postponing to put things off, and it filled in the gap in our schedule.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you're like, yeah, we need to add more of this to the list. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, you heard it on the news. The business term, everybody needed to pivot. That was the word during COVID, pivot, pivot, pivot. You did. Like other businesses that came out on the backside and you're still standing because you were willing to change.
Correct.
I have to share, we were just talking in the lobby before, just going through this. I think, whether it's your own home or like you said, family, it's very emotional, going through things. And sometimes that would stop me if I would find something. Yeah. So my grandma used to go to this lake place and she wrote letters all the time. And after she passed away, I was like, oh, I just wish I had one of those letters. I'll probably tear up now. But through the process of going through my basement, I bet I found 50.
Oh, goodness.
So it's a priceless treasures. But then sometimes I would stop and Julie's like, oh, we got another box to do.
Keep going. That is the problem. I think all the time, every day I'm going to, like in a month, I thought how great it would be if when I come home from work, if I could go to everybody's closet, take out a box that I know that they don't even know what's in it anymore, go through just 3 boxes a day, and how far I could clean the house in a month if I would do that. That was what I thought this morning, and I didn't realize you were going to be here today. And I was like, maybe that was subconscious.
Wendy, you were wishing you had a letter, and you didn't know you had 50 of them, and I'm picking on you a little bit, but that's normal, because most people, and I bet, Julie, they go, I forgot I had this. I've been looking for this. Do you get those stories?
Yes, all the time. We find a lot of money stashed away.
I bet.
Paperwork, they couldn't find the title to their car or whatever.
Sure.
So we find a lot of things like that. They all get separated into a box. Recently, we found our client's grandma's jewelry, which he thought had been taken by a different family member, and he was just so relieved that we had found it.
One question before you go, and then we're going to give people contact information and how they can reach you. When you're helping people get through this stuff, like Wendy, those letters, what is it that you say to them to be able to help them let go of antiques, of all the letters and keep one? What do you say to them that gets them to go, okay, I'm going to?
Well, it depends on what it is. And we often ask, when's the last time you used this? And are you going to display it in your home, or is it just going to sit in a closet?
Yeah.
And also, do your children really want this when you're not here anymore? Mm-hmm. Because the future generations are minimalist. Yeah. And many don't want
all that stuff. Sometimes the reminder can hurt you more than help you in some cases when you have so much of it. It can hold you back. Well, tell us, Julie, how do people contact you if they're saying, gosh, I could really use some help with my grandmother's estate, or we're thinking about moving and this is just too big for me, too big of a job, to get some advice?
Well, you can certainly contact me through my website, sosmn.net, or give me a call at 320-248-6694.
Julie, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Julie's with SOS of Sauk Rapids. You should stop by and check out their retail store and see all the neat things that they have here. You have anything coming up at SBDC that people that want to come into business and maybe have some questions, how would they get a hold of you, Barry, if they just wanted to talk with you about an idea?
They can give me a call at 308-4059, area code 320, of course. Go on our website.
Okay, perfect. Wendy, I appreciate you so much for being in touch with this whole community because I've never seen someone so passionate about local business as Wendy Hendricks. She's all about helping people and get the word out about people and shopping local.
Well, it's all about relationships. And, I always say all ships rise together and we all support each other. And I think that's what community is all about. So coming off of these past few years, it's more important than ever.
Sure.
I have to share a funny story to people who know me. When they first came into my closet, one of her staff people said, "Oh, good Lord." But then she also told me I had 3 times too many clothes. I'm like, what are you talking about?
3 times too many clothes.
The closet was the hardest thing, but she really helped me.
It was overwhelming. But I want to share a quick story too. I did a follow-up with Wendy 6 months later, and I was so proud of her. She had maintained all the organizational tools we had implemented for her closets, her shelves, her bathroom. So that was rewarding.
Yeah.
Once you have a system in place, it's easier to maintain.
Well, I need Julie to come make a system for me and Drew and Tanner and Mason. I think I have to make 4 appointments. She'll have to do 4 different rooms to help us
They
get
are
us there.
incredible. And they really care. I mean, you really care about your clients and her staff. And I think that's why she's continuing to be so successful.
Smart Organizing Solutions, LLC. What is the website?
www.sosmn.net.
All right. Thank you all for being here. Do we know who's coming in next week?
Feeding Area Children Together will be promoting their event coming up. So, yes.
That's kind of how you and I reconnected, was through that. All right. Thanks, everybody.